Good morning, everyone, and I'm very happy to be this morning to share some welcoming word for this international conference. Really, thank you to our members and friends of HIDEC, staff, and everybody else who was involved in putting efforts into organizing this event. I'm Gianluca Coppola. I'm one of the founder and the current president of the European Digital Learning Network, which I would like to briefly present before to share a few considerations on our recent research about the connection between the digital skills and the world of work. Let me share my screen. So, European Digital Learning Network is an European network legally established and having its seat in Italy, but with a truly genuine European scope. We had an idea a few years ago to try to make a new platform focusing on digital skills, laying on the provision of the digital single market, which needs a third pillar, have the skills, like one of the cornerstone for the development of a genuine European digital society. So we had this idea also in consideration of the fact that at that time, but believe me, nowadays there are no major changes, although we can count, of course, on some development, but still we know that some 48% of the population is in Europe is not properly digital skilled, like 90% of the jobs will require some level of digital skills. So it was on those data that we decided to create a kind of interest group. Let's say it was May 2015, but this interest group was then transformed in January 2016 network, in a proper formal legally established network, which is nowadays, and it was at that time, European Digital Learning Network, which can count today on 31 members, covering 18 countries in Europe, and with a large set of interests coming from being associations or ICT education providers, but we also have universities or vocational schools or SMEs or educational centers connected with adult education, for example. But why these very large set of members? Because we like, and we was born to have different voices heard, different voices accompanying the development of our activities, which is nowadays set around 4 important thematic working groups, going from school education to higher education, adult education to vocational education. Each working group is strictly interconnected with the others into doing what is our expertise and what is our daily job. We work a lot on trying to understand the role of new technologies and the digital competencies requested by the job market, for example, but not only. How, for example, digital opportunities may bring new inclusive opportunities for people with less opportunities. But we work a lot also for shaping, for instance, new curricula, new educational methods. So we work a lot as well trying to translate the European transparency tools, the ACVET, AQET, into a new digital domains. We work a lot for trying, thanks to the digital technologies, to create synergies and opportunities for a major and stricter intercultural and intergenerational lifelong learning opportunity. Doing that, trying to develop our expertise and our knowledge. We have a lot of projects, not only granted, but also projects in terms of initiatives in Europe, thanks to our members. And not only, we may go from conferences, seminars, training opportunities, but also awareness campaigns. We work a lot close to the commissions, to the parliament, the concilium. We sit in several working groups of the commission when it comes to speak and to give inputs as experts for the European education area and for many, many other files the institutions are working. Of course, we also have a large communication structural path. We are very, very active on most used social media, from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter, but we have also a very large set of newsletters, thematic newsletters, policy newsletters, projects and initiative newsletters, where we inform our European members, stakeholders, partners about what is happening in our community, what are our initiatives, and so on. And we work with a lot of stakeholders in Europe. Here you can see some of the most important, but we work also with some very local or regional entities, because our interest is to create synergies. Now, in this aspect, we have every year a very rich plan of activities, and during the 2023, among others, we have run a research trying to understand what is the state of the art in Europe about the digital skills and job. What is the connection between these two domains? And it's my wish now, in the next few minutes, to give you the most important inputs we learn from studying the data. The rationale of the research was to collecting data on specific digital skills required by the European labor market, also trying to compare what is the current level of digital knowledge, and so what would be the necessary needed skills in order to better understand how we could do for filling in the gap. It was an effort that kept our staff for several months. We had some 4,000 answers in Europe. Of course, consider this research a qualitative research. In fact, as you will see later on, we in particular prioritize interviewing managers, entrepreneurs, HR managers, and so on. The biggest group of respondents was males aged between 36 and 50 years old. The questionnaire was spread in 24 languages in order to attract as much as possible answers, interviewing in particular 3 key professional groups, and by a time plan lasting from April to September 2023. We interviewed the company managers, human resource managers, as I said before, but also entrepreneurs. And while we had actually responses from all over Europe, the countries which was more reactive was in particular Italy, Greece, in fact, Romania, Spain, Portugal, France, and Hungary. Something very important for me, I appreciate a lot was that we had among the respondents a very large participation of different economical sectors. So we had from creative and cultural sector, finance, energy, education and training, of course, but also public services or scientific, technical and professional services. So we may say that the data we collect are going to cover a very nice range of industry. Our reflection was, what is the DigiComp saying about the labor market and the digital skills required, or the skills, generally speaking, required by the labor market? So we know that the DigiComp speaks about problem solving, information and data literacy, communication and collaboration, digital content, safety, which are recognized like very important drivers for developing, the company. And so we tried to also put a comparison between the current situation and 4 years from now, also, and still keeping into account what DigiComp said. But then we tried also to step ahead, to go the extra mile by offering 3 different sections into question, because our aim was, if the DigiComp make a kind of photography about the state of the art, let's also say and observe what is now the perception about the people daily working and about the gaps into the digital skills into labor market. So we organized a questionnaire into 3 section, state of the art, training needs, and digital skills and green. The first section gave us important information in the sense that some 40% of people interviewed is saying that the workforce is not equipped with all the knowledge and skills to manage digital transformation in the workplace. Then we know that that the most relevant skill recognized by the industries are going by managing data, information, digital content, with some 90% up to 13% more or less skills connected with the evaluation of data, information, and digital content. So here we see some important information which, in my understanding, are not only impacting on hard skills needed by the market, but in particular by soft skills needed more and more in the future by the market. Then we had the second session, training needs and lifelong learning opportunity, where we can observe that some 56% of people believe that are quite weak the level of understanding about the national education system. 31% replied their organization does not have training and retraining opportunities at the moment, and some 80% feel that the level of digital competencies offered by the educational system is inadequate for their company needs. And then we know that 80% more or less believe that there is a very huge gap in the relationship between women and STEM sector. Like 60% more or less of the respondents believe that there is a gap in the representation of persons with disability in the STEM field. So there are quite a lot of reflection that we can do according to these data. It's not a case that last week in Brussels, we had a conference with some officers from the Commission where we brought to their attention these data, in particular focusing on some recommendation like reducing the mismatch between educational system and needs of working world. or increasing the awareness and undertaking of digital skills. We pray the Commission to take action for offering more opportunities to raise awareness of the green revolution. And finally, we recommend the institution to fight against the resistance to retrain and upgrade of the skills, which is also a very known and huge problem into our ESME system. Now, I will not go longer into this discussion before to close. Of course, the presentation is at your disposal for later consideration, but something before to close is on my mind to be shared. What I see, and this data would confirm my mind, is that we are really now experiencing a structural transformation for the education system. What I mean is that there is, of course, a very precise increasing need for lifelong learning in an online world. What does it mean? What I mean is that, of course, from the past, we were used in a kind of, career path quite traditional. People were used into entering a job place and staying there almost for their life. That's not possible anymore. People is much more used into be trained, retraining, or acquiring new skills in a non-linear world, so following different paths and alternative paths. It has a clear impact on what I call the evolving needs and expectation of the student consumer. It means that, our new generations of students or, learners are now used to approach the education very different than the past. Now, the young generations are used in being fast, in getting personalized answers from the market, and it should be in their mind also from the education system, which is and must, I believe, have itself the question: am I going to be able to personalize the education, to give the answers that my students as a client is looking from me? These are fundamental questions that we all that are engaged into the educational system should start to have ourselves. Also because there is also another very clear trend. The big corporation, I'm referring to Google, to Amazon, to Netflix, are, and it's not a case, opening their own training centers where to let people trained, preparing the next generation of experts and technicians, because it's evident that the school system, like we know it nowadays, somehow and under some condition is not able to respond to the needs of the market and the SMEs, micro companies, and so on. So, last but not least, the reflection also I would like to leave for you today is, are we going towards a skills over degree model, in the sense that, of course, for centuries, or for not centuries, for decades, I would say the degrees was the formal entrance for the people into the labor market, but skills nowadays are not so strictly linked with the possession of a degree. So are we going, I would say, through a system which will not recognize a degree like a certificate for being recognized as able to do or as able to show competencies, skills, and be prepared for covering a given position in the market? Also, this is a very important question that we should try to reflect on. I would like all you for the attention, for the time that you dedicated to me. I wish a fruitful continuation of your day and discussion, and have a good morning.